Hello, I'm Brody Krass, a sophomore, and this is my first year in life design. Life design has been less about producing a perfect final product and more about learning how I work, what motivates me, and how I handle setbacks. What I'll share is an honest account of how my projects evolved from foosball to career paths to a board game, and how those experiences taught me a lot about time management, procrastination, and creative problem solving. When the class started, I didn't know what project I wanted to commit to. At first glance, everything seemed possible and nothing felt urgent. The uncertainty, mixed with my usual habit of procrastination, made it so hard to start anything meaningful. Instead of picking something I could sustain, I picked things that sounded cool in the moment. That impulsive decision making became a pattern in the first two projects and cost me time, focus, and the chance to really develop skills. My first idea was a hockey themed foosball table. On paper, it was fun. Hands on project, I could show woodworking and design skills. I bought materials, sketched plans, and told myself I would work on it consistently. But what actually happened was the opposite. I mostly daydreamed about it, then forced myself into a 3 day sprint at the end. I worked hard during those 3 days and got something that looked like a prototype. But because I rushed and I didn't leave time for improvements, balancing mechanics, or even proper finishing, I realized the project was mediocre. I had no plan to keep making it better, and I was bored of it by the time the 3 days ended. There were two big takeaways from this fail. First, excitement is not the same as commitment. Second, a rushed push produces a surface level result, not growth. If I had broken the work into smaller, consistent tasks, asked for feedback, or made regular process checks, the table could have become a stronger project. Instead, my procrastination turned the whole thing into a checkbox experience. After the foosball table, I pivoted to career paths project. This idea was practical. Choose 3 careers, research them, and ideally shadow professionals to understand day-to-day responsibilities. I thought this might help me figure out the future and looks like the kind of school project adults would approve of. But once again, I ran into the same problem. I didn't feel emotionally connected to the work. Research without personal interest felt transactional. I put off reaching out for shadowing opportunities, thinking I'd do it later, but later never came. As you can see, I mapped out all the phases and the careers I would choose, and how I would do it. I ended up making all the questions for if I was ever going to interview the people. For lawyer, the first career I chose, then plumber, the second one, and then finally, realtor. I had all the questions and thought I would really do this project and make it look good. But I ended up finding it boring and not liking it at all. So I did not end up choosing this one. This project taught me something different. Not all logical ideas are motivating. Even a useful project will stall if it doesn't mean something to you personally. I was learning that motivation can't be faked by logic alone. You need a big level of interest or emotional stake in the outcome. Finally, I landed on designing a board game, and everything changed. The board game idea got under my skin in a way the other projects never did. I liked the idea of building my own whole system, rules, pieces, and strategy from scratch. It felt creative and challenging in a way that matched my personality. The core idea is simple. Capture the crown at the center of the board. Each player places 4 colored instant tokens on the edges anywhere they choose. On your turn, you place a token adjacent to one of your existing tokens, and you can stack tokens on a square to increase strength. Each token adds +1 strength. To take over an opponent's square, you must have at least 1 or more strength. After everyone takes a turn, the round ends. You win by either controlling the crown at the end of the round while having the most squares, or just by controlling 24 tiles. This project worked because it combined creativity with strategy and allowed consistent iteration. I enjoyed balancing token values and imaging player strategies. Playtesting became my favorite part. Watching how different players approached the board showed me problems I couldn't have seen myself. Bringing the board into 3 different classes, watching my classmates react, trying moves I haven't thought of, or misreading the rules was crucial. Designing a game taught me how many small decisions add up. Initial playtests revealed ambiguity in the rules. Players confused token stacking with movement. Some found the crown too easy to defend. Others said the game dragged in mid-game. Each session taught me which rules to simplify, where to tweak token strength, and how to make turns feel faster. I learned to accept that early versions would be bad, and that's okay. They're experiments, not failures. Across all 3 projects, my habit of procrastination was the consistent problem. I would watch YouTube for hours, tell myself I'll get it done tonight, and then surprise myself with sudden intense productivity the night before something was due. That pattern produced mediocre outcomes and high stress. The board game changed that pattern partially because I enjoyed it. But even then, I had to actively fight distractions and structure my time. I started scheduling short 25 to 45-minute focus sessions instead of planning a marathon work nights. I set small milestones like write 1 rule sheet or playtest with 2 people, rather than vague goals. I limited my YouTube and phone time with small commitments, like stop putting on YouTube after an hour of work. I accepted that early playtests would be rough and used them to guide concrete revisions. The management was the headline lesson. Procrastination doesn't just steal hours, it steals quality. Learning opportunities and momentum when I procrastinated. I didn't get the chance to test ideas, solicit feedback, or meaningfully improve anything. When I structured my time and scheduled small, consistent efforts, the work got better and I felt less stressed. I also learned adaptability. Switching projects wasn't a failure, it was an experiment. Being willing to scrap the project that wasn't working saved me time in the long run. I learned to evaluate projects not only for how good they might look on paper, but for how likely I would be able to stay engaged with them. Finally, improving practical skills, rule writing clarity, prototyping, balancing mechanics, and running playtests. Those are concrete things I can use in future projects or jobs. Looking ahead, I want to do 3 things differently. 1. Choose projects based partially on how much I care about them, not how sensible they look. I'll give myself quick trial periods to test genuine interest. 2. Time management tools consistency. Timed work sessions, short deadlines, and frequent checkpoints to prevent any last-minute sprints. And 3. Reduce my distractions by setting specific work windows and rewards. My phone and endless videos aren't going away, but I can structure them so they don't consume my creativity. Again, I'm Brody Krass, and thank you for watching my Life Design POL video.